Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weather video. Today we're going to be going over winter thoughts number one for the winter of 2021 to 2022. So first of all, we're going to be going over our temperature forecast, our precipitation forecast, and then some just general thoughts and observations that I have about the possibilities for this upcoming winter and what we may expect in terms of whether it'll be a La Nina or a neutral phase, or what the PNA, the PDO, or the North American Oscillation or the Arctic Oscillation is going to look like. So before we get started, I would ask that you subscribe if you like weather-related content, and also be sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I would also very appreciate it if you check out the Discord server. The link is in the description below. So we're going to get started with the temperature forecast. Now, all you need to know for this is that purple, the coldest compared to normal, dark blue, less cold compared to normal, light blue, less cold compared to normal, white is roughly normal, yellow is slightly above normal, and orange is very above normal temperatures. So we're noticing a northwest to southeast divide. So we're going to go from warmest to coldest this time. So in that orange region, which extends from parts of southern Oregon through California, Nevada, western Utah, into Arizona and parts of New Mexico, all of California is included in that. That's going to be the portion where temperatures are far above normal, like more than 2 degrees above normal. And that's the portion of the United States where I think it's going to be warm, consistently warm. I don't think we're going to have cool downs. You may have a cool down at times, but I think it's going to be overwhelmingly not necessarily hot, but just warmer compared to your normal. Now, in the yellow zone, it's where we're going to be having temperatures that are still above normal, but there's less confidence and it's likely to be less intense. So that extends from portions of the Pacific Northwest, including southern Washington, down through the western Rockies, parts of the Great Basin, eastern New Mexico, most of Texas, and parts of western Oklahoma and Kansas. Those regions, again, it's going to be slightly less confidence in terms of the above normal temperatures, but they will still be there in portions of and that's the region where I feel reasonably confident that we will see some above normal temperatures. Moving on to the cold, we're going to start with the light blue shade. And light blue shade is experiencing temperatures which are just a little bit slightly below normal, so maybe a degree or so below normal, and that's going to extend from portions of the upper plains and Montana down through Colorado and the Texarkana region. Northern Louisiana may get into that a little bit. And then portions of the southeast up towards the mid-Atlantic, stopping at New York City. I think there are portions within that may not experience below normal temperatures. I think especially down in the deep south, portions of the northern Gulf states may not experience below normal temperatures. Also, portions of the Outer Banks of the Carolinas may experience more normal or neutral temperatures, just like the white shade, which extends from Florida all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. In the dark blue shade, we get temperatures which are moderately below normal. Now, this region extends from all of the Northeast, with the exception of New York City, down through much of Pennsylvania, west of Washington D.C. to the Great Lakes, Southern Great Lakes, the Ohio River Valley mostly, into portions of the Eastern Plains, Northern Plains, up through the Midwest, Southern Midwest, so Illinois, Iowa, Eastern Nebraska, and Kansas, should experiencing at least moderately below normal temperatures. Again, there may be a warm up or two at times, but I think that region's where we're going to experiencing more of the core of the cold. And then in the purple region. Purple region, we're expecting the most below normal temperatures. In the purple region, it will extend all the way from the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan primarily, as well as portions of the eastern Dakotas. Notice that I have not included Chicago in that. I think Chicago, due to the breeze off of the water, it tends to get a little bit warmer there than surrounding regions. But other than that, much of the Midwest should be in that purple shade, which means that there could be a polar vortex invasion at some point during the winter. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take a look at our precipitation forecast. And our precipitation forecast is a little bit confusing, a little bit hairy, but we're going to go through it step by step. So we're going to start with the drier than normal areas. So in that dark brown shade, we've got portions of the United States which are the most dry compared to normal. And that includes pretty much the desert Southwest as well as Southern California into western New Mexico, and that's where I think there's going to be most confidence of below normal precipitation. In that lighter shade, which extends from the southern Pacific Northwest in through much of California, the Great Basin, the southern plains, and all of Texas, That's where I think there's less confidence in the below normal precipitation, but there's going to be most areas within that region will experience below normal precipitation this upcoming winter. And again, this is where it's likely to be less intense, and so you may not notice it as much. As for above normal precipitation, in the light green shade, it's where precipitation will be slightly above normal. It extends from parts of the southeast and the south, up through the southern mid-Atlantic and the Smoky Mountains, up through the central Midwest, Great Plains, Central Plains, Rocky Mountains, and Pacific Northwest, especially Washington, Idaho, and Oregon, northern Oregon. I think that that's where we're going to experiencing slightly above normal precipitation. Again, you may not notice it in these regions, and not everywhere in that light green shade will experience above normal precipitation. Now, I want to point out one exception to this before we move on to the dark green shade, is that's the upper Midwest. Now, I think the upper Midwest, because you've noticed that it's going to be extremely cold. Now, when air is so cold, it doesn't support precipitation and snowfall as much, and so that's why I think there's going to be some lesser amounts of precipitation. However, that region may end up experiencing below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation, which would be surprising. But I don't think the Alberta Clipper storm track is going to be as active this season. Now, in the darker green shade, we've got temperatures which are much above precipitation, which is much above normal, and that extends from the southern Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic, and all of the Northeast, as well as portions of the interior and coastal banks of the southeastern United States. And that's where I think there's going to be prevalent storms, frequent nor'easters, especially Miller B-type nor'easters are going to be likely this season, and also some Miller A nor'easters with that active southern jet, which comes across towards Florida and then up the East Coast. I think it's going to be likely that we see many major snowfall events, as well as some rainfall and above normal precipitation events. Before I close the video, I do briefly want to touch on the fact that we are going to be having an Enso neutral winter, which is slightly different than a La Nina. It's a little bit warmer. Pacific waters are going to be around normal, meaning that there's likely to be a little bit less precipitation in the upper northwest, Pacific Northwest, and the core of the cold is likely to be shifted a little bit further east than past winters. Although I know that the last winter was an exception to La Ninas and Northeast saw an exceptionally cold and snowy winter. However, I think this winter may actually be a repeat of that. It may even be more intense, purely due to the fact that we have both the Miller A and the Miller B nor'easter track, which look to be setting up. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt, because we are still really far out from the official start of winter, which starts on December 1st. But I just want to give you guys a quick update just on what the preliminary winter thoughts are looking like. I'm also thinking that there's going to be some polar vortex invasions, especially as we get towards February, March. I think that the Arctic oscillation is going to turn negative, meaning the Arctic air is going to allow it to be spilled into especially the north central and possibly the northeastern United States as well. As always, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.